Hello and welcome to day 116 of our Chronological Bible in a Year reading. Today we have 3 Psalms, Psalm 73, 77, and 78. Psalm 73. A Psalm of Asaph. Elohim is truly good to Yisrael, to those whose heart is clean. But as for me, my feet had almost stumbled. Excuse me. Whew. Excuse me. Thank you. As for me, my feet had almost stumbled, my steps had nearly slipped. For I was envious of the boasters. Man, rough start. Excuse me. For I was envious of the boasters when I saw the peace of the wicked. For death has no pangs for them, and their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, and they are not plagued like other men. So pride is their necklace, the garment of violence covers them. Their eyes bulge from fatness, their heart overflows with imaginations. They mock and speak in the evil of oppression. They speak loftily. They have put their mouth against the Shamayim, which is the heavens, and their tongue walks through the earth. Therefore his people return here, and waters filled are drained by them. And they have said, how could El know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? See, these are the wicked, and always at ease. They have amassed wealth. Indeed, in vain have I cleansed my heart and washed my hands in innocence. For I am plagued all day long, and my reproof is every morning. If I had said, let me speak thus, see, I would have deceived a generation of your children. Jeez, excuse me. Verse 16, yet when I tried to understand this, it was labor to my eyes, until I went into the Mikdash of El, which is the temple of El. I perceived their end. Indeed, you put them in slippery places, you make them fall to ruins. How suddenly they are ruined, completely swept away through destructions. Yahuwah, when you awake, you despise their image, as one does a dream after waking. For my heart was in a ferment, and I was pierced in my kidneys. I was stupid and ignorant, I was like a beast toward you, yet I am always with you. You took hold of my right hand. You lead me by your counsel, and afterward receive me unto esteem. Whom do I have in the Shamayim? And I have desired no one besides you on earth. My flesh and my heart shall waste away. Elohim is the rock of my heart and my portion forever. For look, those who are far from you perish. You shall cut off all those who go whoring away from you. But as for me, it is good to be near Elohim. I have made my refuge in the Adon Yahuwah, to declare all your works. And I'm going to double check, but I believe Adon is master. Oh, I went too far. Yep, Adon is master. Okay. And then we have 77 and 78. Get a drink real quick. Okay. Psalm 77 and 78. Psalm 77. To the chief singer, to Yeduthan, a psalm of Asaph. My voice is to Elohim, and I cry. My voice is to Elohim, and he listened to me. In the day of my distress I sought Yahuwah. My hand was stretched out in the night, and it did not cease. My being refused to be comforted. I remembered Elohim and groaned. I complained, and my spirit grew faint. Selah. You ceased the watches of my eyes. I was too troubled to speak. I have thought about the days of old, the years long past. I remember my song in the night. I meditate within my heart, and my spirit searches diligently. Would Yahuwah reject forever and never again be pleased? Has his kindness ceased forever? Has the promise failed for all generations? Has El forgotten to show favor? Has he shut up his compassions in displeasure? Selah. And I said, this is my grief, that the right hand of the Most High has changed. And I remember the deeds of Yah, for I remember your wonders of old. And I shall meditate on all your work, and talk of your deeds. Your way, O Elohim, is in Kodeshah. I need to look that one up real quick. Kodeshah means holiness. Okay. Your way, O Elohim, is in Kodeshah, holiness. Who is a great El like Elohim? You are the El who does wonders. You have made known your strength among the peoples. By your arm you have redeemed your people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Selah. The waters saw you, O Elohim. The waters saw you. They were afraid. The depths also trembled. The clouds poured out water. The Shamayim rumbled. Also your arrows flashed back and forth. The voice of your thunder rolled along. Lightnings lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your way was in the sea, and your path in the great waters, and your footsteps were not known. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moshe and Aaron. Psalm 78. A poem of Asaph. My people, give ear to my Torah. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I open my mouth in a parable. I utter riddles of old, which we have heard and known, for our fathers have declared to us. We do not hide from their children, declaring to the generation to come the praises of Yahuwah, and his strength and his wonders which he has done. For he raised a witness in Jacob, and put a Torah in Yisrael, which he commanded our fathers to teach them to their children, that it might be known to a generation to come, to children who would be born, to rise up and declare to their children and place their trust in Elohim, and not forget the works of El, but watch over his commands, and not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation which did not prepare its heart, whose spirit was not steadfast to El. The children of Ephraim, armed bow archers, turned back in the day of battle. They did not guard the covenant of Elohim. They refused to walk in his Torah, and they forgot his deeds and his wonders which he had shown them. He did wonders in the sight of their fathers in the land of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt. In the field of Zoan, he split the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters stand up like a heap, and led them with the cloud by day, and all the night with a light of fire. He split the rocks in the wilderness, and made them drink as from the great depths, and brought forth streams from the rock, and caused waters to come down as rivers. Yet they sinned still more against him, to rebel against the Most High in the desert. And they tried El in their heart by asking food according to their desire, and they spoke against Elohim. They said, Is El able to prepare a table in the wilderness? Look, he struck the rocks that the waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. Is he able to give bread also? Would he provide meat for his people? Therefore Yahuwah heard, and he was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and displeasure also came up against Israel, because they did not believe in Elohim, neither did they trust in his deliverance. Yet he had commanded the clouds above, and opened the doors of the Shamayim, and he rained down manna on them to eat, and he gave them the grain of the Shamayim. Men ate bread of the mighty, and he sent them provisions to satisfaction. He made an east wind blow in the Shamayim, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained meat on them like the dust, and winged birds like the sand of the seas, and let them fall in the midst of his camp, all around his Mishkan, which is his tabernacle. So they ate and were completely satisfied, for he brought them what they desired. They had not turned away from their desire. Their food was still in their mouths when the wrath of Elohim came against them, and he slew among their fat ones, and he struck down the choice ones of Yisrael. In spite of all this, they still sinned and did not believe in his wonders. So he ended their days in a breath, and their years in trouble. When he slew them, then they sought him. And they returned and earnestly sought El. And they remembered that Elohim was their rock, and that the Most High El their Redeemer. But they flattered him with their mouth, and they lied to him with their tongue. For their heart was not steadfast with him, and they were not true to his covenant. But he, the compassionate one, pardoned wickedness, and did not destroy them. And many a time he turned his displeasure away, and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a passing breath that does not return. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness, and grieved him in the desert. And again they tried El and provoked the Kadosh one of Yisrael, which means the Holy One of Yisrael. They did not remember his hand the day when he redeemed them from the adversary, how he worked his signs in Mitzrayim and his wonders in the field of Zoan. He turned their rivers into blood, and they could not drink their streams. He sent among them swarms of flies, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them, and gave their crops to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost, and gave their beasts over to the hail, and their livestock to bolts of fire. He sent on them the burning of his displeasure, wrath and rage and distress, a deputation of messengers of evils. He made a path for his displeasure. He did not spare their being from death, but gave their life over to the plague. And he smote all the firstborn in Mitzrayim, the firstfruits of strength in the tents of Ham, then made his own people go forth like sheep, and led them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them on safely, and they did not fear. But the sea covered their enemies. And he brought them to the border of his Kodesh place, again, holy place, this mountain which his right hand had gained, and drove out nations before them, and allotted them a measured inheritance, and made the tribes of Israel dwell in their tents. Yet they tried and rebelled against the Most High Elohim, and did not guard his witnesses. But they turned back and acted treacherously like their fathers. They twisted like a treacherous bow. For they enraged him with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their carved images. When Elohim heard this, he was wroth, and greatly despised Yisrael. And he left the Mishkan of Shiloh, the tent which he had put up among men. And he gave his strength into captivity, and his comeliness into the hand of the adversary. And he gave his people over to the sword, and he was wroth with his inheritance. His young men were consumed by fire, and his maidens were not praised. His Kohanim fell by the sword, which are his priests, and their widows could not weep. Then Yahuwah awoke as one asleep, as a mighty man who shouts because of wine. And he smote his adversaries backward, he put them to an everlasting reproach. Then he rejected the tent of Joseph, and he did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Yehudah, Mount Zion, which he loved. And he built his Mikdash, again his temple, like the heights, like the earth he founded it forever. And he chose David his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. He brought him in from tending the ewes, to shepherd Jacob his people, and Yisrael his inheritance. And he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart, and led them by the skill of his hands. And that concludes our reading for today. Thanks for joining. Hope you're reading along, and peace and blessings and love to you. See you in the next one.